What's up, everybody? Dan from Headwaters. And behind me, I've got a boat that you guys have been asking to see for a while. The brand new Crescent Kayaks CK1. Had it for a few weeks, and I finally got down to Lodi, and I'm going to get a chance to paddle it. I'm just going to go for a paddle, share my thoughts. It's not necessarily a full review or a walkthrough. I'll have some more reviews and walkthroughs coming later. But for now, we're just going to go play in boats, and I'm going to bring you guys along. Let's get into it. So what Crescent was really trying to do is kind of the ultralight throw and grow portability of the ultralight mixed with the stability and performance of the light tackle. So this is what they came up with. Pretty cool little boat. Very similar to the light tackle, except for it's got the tank well in the front instead of the hatch. And this one's 34 inches wide, 11 foot long, 400 pound capacity, and a total weight of 60 pounds. So easy to pick up, easy to move around, but still a huge, huge capacity. And I like the fact that most fishing kayaks nowadays are getting into the 80, 90, 100 pound range. And Crescent came out with a really simple yet functional design that only weighs 60 pounds. Kudos to them for finding their little niche in the market and really kind of just flushing it out. Enough about the stats, so let's go get into it and actually see how it paddles. Hanging out down at our boathouse today. It's nice to see it, so busy. Lots of boats on the water and a group going out right now. I wanted to show you guys our launch here too, because it's pretty cool. If you rent a kayak from us or join us on a tour, super easily accessible. You just drop the boat in there, sit, slide right in. So the first thing I always do is get in the boat, make sure I'm well adjusted. Seat back, I want to be sitting upright and forward. And then I pull the pedals, which usually being that I'm 6'2", I have to push all the way out. But this boat, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm probably 2/3 down on the track, so still 1, 2, 3, 4 more spaces to go if I needed to. And I didn't bring my paddle today. Thankfully, the boathouse uses some really nice paddles for their premium rentals. These are Aquabound Whiskies, carbon shaft, fiberglass blades. So anytime you're in a premium kayak here, they hook you up with something this or equal of value. Look at that, I used the first feature there without even really thinking about it. It's got that perfect little paddle part when I was launching myself or if I was fishing or whatever. That's such a convenient, simple little thing. I normally stick it underneath the bungee on my light tackle, but it's a little tricky to get under the bungee. In fact, I've added like a little ball on there so it's easier to slide. This is simple and it works. My camera mount is janky today, so let's see if I can't come up with some. Imagine that, camera mount being janky. Every other video I've ever made, right? Never been a professional cinematographer, you guys. I am just a kayak bum with a YouTube channel and an iPhone. I've never tried to hide it, and I know I should probably get better gear, but I don't know. I'm also the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and the best camera is the one you have in your pocket. So when I'm in this kayak, I kind of feel similar to my light tackle as far as the overall cockpit feel, dimensions, seat height. It's all pretty much the same. The nose does feel a little bit shorter. And the tail is definitely closer. But all in all, feels pretty similar. A little bit quicker to the secondary, but not much. Very, very stable boat. A little less primary stability than most kayaks, but a really great secondary stability. And that's what makes the boat feel alive. You know, a lot of boats nowadays are just all about primary stability. Stable, stable, stable. And I really feel like we've kind of evolved past that. People know, okay, I need stable, but I also want the boat to paddle nice. There's a balance there. And finding that balance is something you really got to do in order to get a boat that you're going to be really happy with. It's not all about stability. If you're stable 100% your first time out, chances are you're going to get bored of that boat and you're going to grow out of it quickly. So a boat that's stable enough, but also feels fun and sporty to paddle. That's what you're after. And I feel like Crescent really gets that. You know, their boats are all stable, but they're all very playful and all edgeable. Like you can put the boat on an edge and carve a turn. You can spin the boat around. And that's definitely something I enjoy in a kayak. I don't want the most stable boat. I don't need the most stable boat, you know? I was out paddling and the first people I meet is Susie, Marcus, and Ethan here. And they're all in little ultralights. To give you guys an idea of how they paddle. Found some nice shallow water, so I thought it'd be a good idea to just hop in and do a quick stability test. And we're going to talk a little bit about primary and secondary stability. What that means, you guys, is primary stability is how much of does a boat feel like a dock? How flat does the boat feel? When you move on its edge, does it tilt or does it kind of fight back? And then secondary stability is how far does the boat go before it kind of firms up? Firming up on the edge is secondary, all right? So initial stability is how tippy does it feel initially when you get in. It's not really a good judge of a boat's stability. Although you want a boat to feel stable enough to get in and move around, you don't want to feel like it's a dock because now you're just pushing all that water. As opposed to when it has a little bit more V, it wants to cut and glide through the water. So the bottom of this kayak is sort of shaped like this with a deep keel. What that means is as you edge, you go into what they call the secondary stability. So when you put the rail of the kayak down in the water, it actually firms up quite a bit and feels very, very stable over here on this edge. So primary stability is good, but a little bit lighter than, say, I don't know, what's similar? Like a feel-free lure is similar, 11 foot, 34 inches wide. This boat feels a lot more lively than a feel-free lure, but less primary stability. The secondary stability, well, I'm not trying to compare it just to a lure, but the secondary stability is good, it's firm, it's comfortable. I mean, definitely a boat that I can feel easily, you know, swinging my legs over the side, stepping out, no problems whatsoever. Not even really having to think about stability in that regard. Now the second, thing that a lot of people want to know when it comes to stability is how stable is it to stand in. So, one thing is when you have a low seat like the one this comes with, it makes it a little bit trickier to get up and down. There is no stand assist leash or anything to help pull yourself up. So you have to be a little more agile. You can also get the seat adjustment. You can get the tall seat base that fits right into this boat, just like the light tackle. But it's not too bad to stand up in, It actually feels really stable once I'm standing up. It's just the getting up and down in that low seat, and it's no different than in my light tackle. I still would prefer, a boat like this as opposed to something with a big standing platform and a stand-up assist handle. What would any good stability check be without a headstand, right? Got to test it out. So let's see how it goes. It's actually a very fitting place. This is where we used to do stand-up paddleboard yoga. So this is where I got my balance, right here in this cove. Let's see if we can do it here. No problem. This thing's incredibly stable. That was actually probably one of the better headstands I've ever done. Again, so stability is relative. Although the boat wants to kind of wobble at first, the secondary is so huge. So when I was off balance a little bit, I had all this extra stability to kind of catch me. The boat feels incredibly maneuverable. It's been a while since I paddled my light tackle, but this boat feels just so familiar to me. It feels like it wants to track. It feels like it's easy to turn. All the things I love about my light tackle, just in a smaller, lighter package. I don't feel like the top end speed is quite as good. Definitely think you lose a little bit of that efficiency. And in the wind, I can feel it turning upwind just slightly. Whereas in my light tackle, it holds true a little bit better. But you got to expect that. The boat's, 2 feet shorter, or 1.5 feet shorter. So a shorter boat isn't going to track as well. But all in all, you can tell that they use the same design philosophies, the same DNA, and it's a very similar boat. Where I think this boat would be a ton of fun is in a moving water river situation. That will be my next review. Next time you see me in this boat, I promise you guys I'll be on the river. I have a plan to take it down the Sacramento River up near Headwaters Adventure Company. I'm going to put in at the Sundial Bridge and paddle down to their shop. And that's where I think this boat will really come to life. That maneuverability will really be able to be highlighted, punching through wave trains and stuff like that. Should do really good. You know, just looking at the whole design, the rocker profile, this thing is meant for moving water. Obviously, it's not a river kayak, but definitely has some really cool features that are going to make it great in the river. So we're in a tight spot here. Let's see how many strokes it takes to spin this boat a 360-degree turn. We're going to alternate using reverse sweep strokes and forward sweep strokes. If you don't know where that is, I'll just kind of spell it out for you. A reverse sweep stroke is when you wind your body up towards the stern of the kayak, looking towards the stern, plant the paddle in the water, and then I sweep that paddle out like a big rainbow stroke up to my feet. Forward sweep's just the opposite. I'm going to start on my feet. I'm going to sweep the paddle all the way to my stern and then do it again. So 4 gentle strokes and this thing spun a 360. Not even really applying a whole lot of pressure on the paddle. So very, very maneuverable. That's what you would expect out of an 11-foot kayak like this one, especially one with a little bit rocker profile. I saw the video Crescent did where they had this thing in the surf. I don't know that I would take it in the surf. Like, it probably wouldn't be my choice to take it in the surf, but it's cool to know that it can do stuff like go in and out of the surf. When you see it coming down the wave, that nose just wants to plane out on the wave and stay real maneuverable. That is a very cool design. Not to say that you're going to go surf, you know, Mavericks in this kayak. That's not really the point. But I will say there will be times where you'll be in a lake and there's going to be some wind and some chop that picks up. Or maybe you're in a river situation where you're bobbing through waves. In a boat that keeps a nice dry nose, that nose wants to punch and lift over the waves, is going to be really, really fun, really, really dry, but just really seaworthy, I guess. Now the downside is when you have a lot of volume up in the nose. The negative side of that is it's going to tend to want to slap a little bit more when it gets choppy. But the dry ride and, you know, the ability to like have the boat run with the waves, to me far outweighs a little bit of pounding. So a few subtle upgrades I noticed on this boat that I'm absolutely thrilled they did, and I hope they include in the light tackle. One, it's just a place to park your paddle. I've got one over here. I've got one on this side. 2, I got my water bottle back here. But a place to put your water bottle where it just stays put. And you've got 4 spots around the boat. And 3, I use this all the time while I'm filming and moving stuff around. It's that little spot for me to just tuck my paddle in right there on the deck. I definitely love that new cover. So we've gone over the speed of this kayak. We've said that it's not quite as fast as a light tackle, probably similar to the ultralight in speed. I haven't paddled these boats back to back, but I'm just sort of going off my memory. I really noticed the difference in speed when going into the wind. This boat just seemed to plow a little bit more than the light tackle, which is to be expected. As far as the maneuverability goes, 4 strokes and I could spin this thing a 360. That's pretty impressive. And typically when you get a maneuverable boat, you don't get a boat that tracks really well. What they've done with this boat is they put that defined keel on the bottom. So it still tracks really well, but because of the rocker profile and because of that loose nose, it spins around on a dime, which I think is really, really cool. That's what you want in a maneuverable, short, river-oriented kayak. Now, I hesitate to say this is a river kayak because most people are gonna use it in flat water situations, but I think if I was using this boat, it would be in a river situation. That's when I see, like, if this was in my quiver, which now it is, that's when I would take it. If we were gonna go float the McCallum, fish for steelhead and trout, if we were gonna go float the Sacramento River and, you know, maybe bounce through some wave trains or maybe bring our camping gear, this would be the boat I would take even over my light tackle because of that maneuverability and playfulness and water tightness too. But each boat has its place, and I think if you're looking for one boat to do it all, you really owe it to yourself, if you can, if it's possible, to try some, and then take a look at your circumstances. What's your priority? What's important to you? You know, the weight of this, quite a bit lighter than the light tackle. Storage, a little bit more minimal. You know, what are your priorities? What do you plan to do with the kayak? Are you gonna bring in a bunch of stuff and paddle in open water lakes? Probably should go with the light tackle. Are you going to be hitting rivers or loading this on top of an SUV? The lightweight of this is probably going to be the thing that would tip me towards the CK1. All the little features and parts, you know, they're nice and, you know, they are convenient, and I hope they upgrade the light tackle, but I don't necessarily think that's a reason to buy one or the other. I really think it comes down to performance and your needs. just a few sweep strokes and this thing just spins around on a top. If you guys haven't, go out and practice that sweep stroke. It is a super, super helpful skill. You'll find yourself using it all the time. If you want to go poke your nose in somewhere like I am here in this little cove, and then you want to turn around, you know, a lot of people I see just kind of doing this, trying to figure it out. Watch, rotate, plant the blade behind you, sweep with your whole body. So what you'll notice is my core is doing the bulk of the work. Putting the paddle in at the bow, and I'm trying to push my kayak with my legs. I'm pushing my kayak away from the paddle. See that? And my core is rotating. So it's almost like my core and my lower body are working against themselves to create the leverage to spin this boat around. Very cool little kayak. I've been waiting for this one to come out for so long. James called me and sort of talked to me about the concept he had for this boat. Gosh, it's been probably a year and a half at this point. So to see it come to life and to see him execute it so well, I gotta just say, hey, kudos. Kudos to James and the whole crew, Drew, Scott, all the guys. I know there's a bunch of Eric. Kudos to you guys. You've done an incredible job. I think you're gonna sell a ton of these things. And hopefully this helps you guys as buyers decide, hey, is the CK1 right for me? If you have any more questions, leave those below in the comment section. As always, this is Dan wishing you happy paddling. We'll see you on the next one.